Hi, my name is Melanie Issaka and I am a visual artist and photographer. I'm currently part of the exhibition Painting with Light, curated by Isabelle Young and Vortic Curated. The exhibition explores the expanded photography and its connections with painting. So there are a few painters and photographers showing work in the exhibition and asking questions about where does photography end and painting begin, or vice versa. The work that I make starts with either working with cyanotype, which is an alternative process which was made in the 19th century by Anna Atkins, who was a biologist, and she was mostly documenting plant life. And I am currently using that process to document and look at my identity. So my work for the last 5 years has been looking at identity and expanded photography. Growing up as a Black woman or a Black child in the UK, the tradition is to go to hairdressers and get it chemically straightened, or you sometimes do it at home. And so often I grew up not really understanding the texture and the way that my hair grew. So in 2015, I decided to stop chemically straightening my hair and see the texture that was natural to me. And I think once I started doing that, I became very aware of my body and trying to understand how to present myself. Locating the Personal is a 3-part series where I examine my identity and look at my place in the world. In Locating the Personal, I began to make works in my bedroom with photosensitive paper, and I would lie on it because I wanted to make portraiture but felt uncomfortable sitting in front of a camera and trying to figure out how to pose. And so I would be making work that I couldn't see for long periods of time because I would still need to process it at another place. But I was very much interested in the practice of making and thinking and reading about identity and identity culture and politics. Dark and Lovely series is I experiment with cyanotype prints. So I was very much interested in taking my shed hair and making prints of that, one-to-one contact of that, in a way that hair holds a lot of information about a person in terms of medically, where you've been, what you've eaten. Dark and Lovely, the title is from the popular hair care brand that a lot of young Black women would have used while growing up. So it's a reference of that. A lot of my work with light is me trying to understand how images are made and how important light is, or the lack of light. I mean, there's a very scientific way of understanding light and the way the refraction works. But in the darkroom, I'm able to, and also in the studios, I'm able to understand how it works in a very tangible way. A lot of artists and photographers have referenced paintings from Vermeer and the way that he paints and the way the light is, and trying to understand the way the light shapes a figure or a space. When I was trying to understand how to take a good picture, it was going back to classical paintings and seeing how the painters have rendered the paintings, and also understanding that sometimes you've almost got an impossible image because of the way that the shadow falls and how it brings life to a scene, and it evokes a lot of emotion and empathy. I learned throughout the last couple of years the possibilities of online shows and the reach, and how opportunities that I've had and the people that I've been able to communicate with worldwide have been because of online exhibitions or online spaces. It's really interesting how the work that I make reaches like America or like Australia or even Japan, where someone just like messaged me on Instagram going, I saw this this work of yours in an exhibition, and wanted to just talk about the process, or they're about to go to a university or they're interested in the process and they just came across the work online. I think that digital spaces offer and expand on the way that artists are able to exhibit and think about their work in a new way. Being in a physical space allows one to see and live with a body of work, and once it's extended to the digital space, it allows you to share works with people that may not have been able to experience that if it's located in one area in the world. Being able to share and communicate with people all over the world is very exciting, because then there are people who might have an interesting way of seeing the work in the way that I've never really imagined. And also being able to share experiences, having a visual reality space that also allows for a three-dimensional experience where it's both like bodily and you're able to move around. I think it's really exciting. I've exhibited in a virtual environment before, however, not in the way that working with Vortic is going to do it. Most of the time it's always been on a screen, so it's still quite two-dimensional. And I think working with like VR and being able to have more movement, I think is very interesting. I think as a young artist, being able to be given opportunities to exhibit is quite difficult. Being able to have like an online show is a way of getting experiences in a way that often is quite limited in physical spaces, especially with the climate in which we live, where most galleries don't really want to give chances to untested artists. And I think that digital spaces allow for that in a very organic way. And organic in the sense that you're able to have a three-dimensional space working with VR where it feels real and you're able to see what works and what doesn't. I would see myself using Vortic again. I've really enjoyed working with the team.